Happy Monday. It's Michelle, Southern Inspirations. Thank you so much for joining. I'm doing red beans and rice today at the request of a few people. So I know there are several different versions of red beans and rice. And if you're like me, you've had several different kinds, some with dry beans that you soak, some with canned beans, some that is like real thick, and some that has more of a gravy, red beans and rice that's spicy or not so spicy, red beans and rice with different types of sausage. So I know there are so many different varieties, and we love it. At the Hill House, we are all about some red beans and rice. So I'm going to share with you the version that I have been making for years. And a quick funny story on where I got this recipe from. And I'll probably get a little bit of grief about this later on, but that's okay. So most of you, especially if you know me personally, and if you follow me on my Facebook page, you know that I'm a Mississippi girl and I'm an Ole Miss fan, been an Ole Miss fan all my life, even though I didn't go to Ole Miss. But in 1990 or 91, early 90s, I worked for a year at the University of Mississippi Dental School in Jackson. I know, me working at a dental school, and I worked in a lab, and there was a girl named Betsy that I worked with. Isn't it crazy how I remember these things all these years later? But Betsy was a state fan, and she had a lot of friends that lived in Starkville, and she invited me to go to a game with her, go to Starkville one weekend. And so I did, and we went to her friend's house, and I don't know if it was before the game or after the game. Lord knows, that's been too many years for me to remember now. But anyway, her friend made red beans and rice, and y'all, I just have this memory. I didn't write down the recipe, but I just remember going home, because even back then, way before I was married, had kids, and we all love red beans and rice, I thought, I really want to make some red beans and rice. And so I had that memory. I don't know if y'all have any of those things that you make and you remember the first time you had a certain recipe or a certain version of it. So just really cool story that a lot of what I do, the secrets, if you will, came from a Mississippi State fan. Go figure. So anyway, thank you for joining. So I have done a lot of prep work already just to kind of get us going. And I will tell you, I use canned beans. So if you're going to keep up with, jot down what the recipe is, follow along that way. I'll post it later in the Good Eating group. But I use 2 cans of light red kidney beans, 2 cans of dark red kidney beans, and 2 cans of red beans. The brand, if you have your favorite, Bush's is good. Bush's beans. Kroger brand is fine. There's nothing wrong with the Kroger brand, but I like the light and the dark, and then the red, the different sizes of the beans and the different colors of the beans. I just think it's pretty, and it gives it a little variety. And I use a can of Rotel tomatoes, 1 can of Rotel's tomatoes. That's one of the secrets. So that's kind of my beans, and I'll show y'all. Let me just go right over here. I don't know if y'all can see. Yeah. There we go. I've already got, that is those 6 cans of beans and that 1 can of Rotel tomatoes that I've got in there just kind of warming up. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. You don't want it like boiling like crazy. Okay. So what I do, I get y'all saw that? I don't know how many quarts that is, your nice pan there. And you just put your beans and your Rotel tomatoes in there and just put it to the side. Don't even turn it on yet. That's just kind of like dump it in there, get it ready for when you are ready. And then I do my chopping, my prep for all my goodies that are going to go in. And I chop up 1 green bell pepper, just a good medium-sized bell pepper, 1 onion. And the onion, it depends on what I have. Today, I'm using a red onion just because I had red onion in the refrigerator. A lot of it was already chopped from when we did burgers on the 4th, so I had it. I use yellow onion. And oftentimes, which I really wanted to do today, but I forgot to get more, and that's green onion. Often, I love green onion. Not only do I like it chopped up raw on top of the cooked red beans and rice, but I usually like to take like a small yellow onion and several of the green onions and chop all that up. So whatever onion you prefer, to chop your bell pepper, your onion. And I also chop 2 different kinds of sausage. I do 1 package of beef sausage and 1 package of Cajun sausage. Sometimes I do andouille. We love Bryan sausage. That's our favorite. But today I actually bought Polk, because Polk brand is good too. If you have a favorite sausage, go for it. And something I do, and the way I chop it 2 different ways. And here's, if we have guests, the reason I do that is if there are some people who don't necessarily, they want sausage, but they don't want the extra spice that the Cajun sausage offers, I just cut it 2 different ways. So I don't know if y'all can, let me get my little fork real quick. Okay, this looks so good. So I cut one just round, and that's just the regular beef sausage. And then I just cut this one like that, and that's my Cajun sausage. And so I chop that up as well and get that ready. So I hadn't told y'all where it all begins with the really fun secret, and that is bacon. Yes. So I fry about 5 or 6 pieces of bacon, just fry it completely and put it to the side. And then I dump out all the bacon grease and reserve that. And then that sausage that I just showed you that I cut up, I take and put, get that right here. This is my peppers and onions right now, but I previously fried my sausage because I want it to get that nice little char on it. We like that nice little char, so that's why I went ahead and cooked that. And then now when I do this, I take that out and drain it, because you know that sausage gives off a whole lot of grease. And so I've already drained that and just stuck it in my bowl. It's sitting there ready. And so now I took a little bit of this bacon grease. I'm trying to get this position so y'all can see the food well. This is where I poured out my bacon grease, but I had just put just a little bit down in my pan. And I've got my onions and bell pepper sauteing in there. And I went ahead and started that because now I'm going to add to that mixture 4 cloves of garlic. I'm trying to get back up. I need an assistant, y'all, to kind of Hannah filmed me before when I did the gravy. So y'all probably know that garlic, when you're sauteing it gets brown pretty quick. It doesn't take long. So I always wait to add it. And I'm going to turn this heat up. I had it down, waiting to go live. And I don't want it to be in there too long, because literally I'm going to take every bit of this and dump it into my bean mixture over there. And so it really doesn't have to sit too long. And I haven't forgotten about the bacon. I'm going to tell y'all what we do with the bacon. And by the way, it's usually wise to cook a couple of extra pieces, because inevitably the family will come get a piece, or I don't want a piece. I've already had a couple pieces of sausage, and Brad had a couple pieces of sausage. So you just saute your onions and peppers, and they don't have to be real tender, because once you add them to your bean mixture and you let that cook for a while, they're going to get tender. And like I said, the garlic doesn't even have to be in there that long. So I'm going to put this right over here. And all right, I already told you all about my bean mixture, okay? So literally, I've got that going. I'm about to just dump the sausage in there, okay? Yum. Okay. Then I'm going to dump my onion. Sorry, my arm is all up in your face. My onion, my bell pepper, and my garlic, it just all goes in there. I'm adding that to those 6 cans of beans and that 1 can of Rotel, okay? And it's got that little bit of, since I saute these in the bacon grease, it's gonna have that little, hello, it's Southern. You gotta have something to do with bacon, right? I'm gonna move this up front. How about I move it first before I turn on the eye? Okay. I'm going to turn that down. All right. We're going to give it a good stir, and then I'll show y'all how pretty it's looking. You get the chunks of tomato and the bell pepper and the onion and the sausage. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Okay. Y'all want to see? I know you do. Look at there. They look so good. So, I say so like a million times. I've been trying not to say it so many times. Goodness gracious. Got that simmering. Now, the seasonings. Okay. One thing I forgot to tell y'all on the sausage. When I kind of browned my sausage, I took some Tony Chachere's and just sprinkled it on there while it was browning. Love me some Tony Chachere's. But guess what? We're fixing to put some more in here. Now, this is where I don't measure. So you'll have to kind of play with it to see what your tastes are. But I'm pretty generous, but you don't want to go nuts because the can of Rotel tomatoes, of course, gives it some spiciness. The Tony Chachere's I had on the sausage is adding some spiciness. And so it's kind of trial and error, and I've got me a couple of spoons. You always want to do a good taste test, right? Then, even though I had 4 cloves of garlic in there, that fresh garlic, I do a little garlic powder. So a little dab of that, okay? Thyme gives it a very interesting taste. And so this is just crushed thyme. And I'll show y'all when I get all the seasons in here. I'll pick the laptop up again and show y'all so you can hopefully kind of get a good idea how much is in there before I stir it up. How about that? Oregano leaves. Do a little shake of that. Maybe a little extra shake. Okay. This one's going to surprise y'all maybe. Basil. Nice little shake of basil, or a few shakes. Okay. Even though I had plenty of onion in there, I do just a little bit of onion powder. It gets kind of stuck. Sometimes I have to, there it goes. The onion powder has an interesting, almost a little bit of a sweet savoriness to it. So it just adds an additional element of onion flavor. And then a little bit of paprika. It'll come out for me. There we go. Let's get some good paprika in there. Okay. And chili powder. All that, and y'all see about, I'm pretty generous, but all right. I don't know how well y'all can see that, but there's all my seasonings. The shadow may be messing with it where y'all can't see it too well. So then I stir all that up, get those seasonings down in there very well. Okay, it's gorgeous. It's smelling wonderful. Okay. Stir that up. Then bay leaves. Depending on what size they are, I usually do 3 or 4. So I try to pick, there's a nice big size one. So that's 1. Here's a small one, 2. I don't want that one. Let's see. There's a nice one, 3. So a couple big ones, a couple small ones, bay leaves, and we have a joke right before, I leave the bay leaves in. I typically do not pull bay leaves out. Now, if I'm serving a huge group of people, and remember to take the time to take them out, I will, but it's just become a thing at our house. Watch out for the bay leaves, watch out for the bay leaves. So I leave them in. I think it gives extra flavor, but you're not supposed to eat them. So there's the bay leaves, okay? Next, good old Worcestershire sauce, okay? So I do two little shakes, which was about, I don't know, 5 or 6. You don't want to do overkill, but the Worcestershire gives it a little kick that you wouldn't expect. Okay, this is coming along so nicely. In turn, I want you to see what this gravy looks like. Okay, I hope I didn't hit the wrong button to like turn us off. Nice little gravy forming up there. See? Okay. All right, so I have all my seasonings in there. I've not done my salt and pepper. You want your salt and pepper, but not too crazy on the salt because your Tony Chachere's typically has a lot of salt in it. So just do your little dash because we're gonna taste test this here in a minute, and then y'all know I have to have my pepper. A few things of pepper, okay. Stir it up again. All right, I'm going to taste this. Get just a little bit of dab. That's pretty good, y'all. It's got a little kick going on to it, but we like it like that. So if you want to dial back the spiciness, you can skip the Cajun sausage. You can skip the Tony Chachere's on the sausage. Not put as much Tony Chachere's, because my thing is you can always take away hot, right? If you put too much hot in, then it's miserable for folks who don't like it. But for me, you can always, did I say that right? You can always add. Did I say you can always take away? You can't take away the hot. You can always add. So we have an assortment of hot sauces if we want it a little bit hotter. So lastly, y'all, is another little bit of a secret ingredient, and that is beef broth. And Kroger is fine. I've bought Swanson's, but I had Kroger. So this, it just gives it just a very distinct flavor. So you've got your bacon going on in there, and we all know how wonderful that is. You've got your sausage and the smokiness of your sausage combined with that bacon. You've got the Rotel that gives a little kick. You've got your veggies in there and all those wonderful, fabulous seasonings. So I wait until everything else is in and I've tasted it, and then I add beef broth. And gosh, I don't know how much, y'all. I really should measure this stuff out. I guess I'm going to have to measure it out to come up with a recipe to post. It thins it out just a little bit. In fact, I'm going to add just a little bit more because now tonight when we eat it, of course, it will be thinner than after it sits in the refrigerator, of course. As you know, once it sits tonight, it's kind of like spaghetti and chili and some of those other things you eat. It's always better like the next day or 2 days later. But even still, see here. I mean, on my tippy toes. See, it's still not super thin, but we like gravy and juice. I knocked over my Worcestershire sauce. Sorry about that. Made some racket. We like things with gravy and sauces. And so here's my pan right here where I've got my water to do my rice. Whatever rice you prefer, we use Success rice a lot, just boil in the bag. But if you like jasmine rice or old-fashioned rice, you boil, that's whatever kind of rice, we just use the Success because it's quick and easy and it tastes pretty good. And then with Texas toast. So I think that, oh, I don't want to forget to tell y'all the bacon. I promised I'd let you know what I do with the bacon. If it makes it and nobody comes over here and eats it while I'm cooking, once I serve the red beans, or excuse me, just before serving the red beans and rice, I take all 6 pieces of that and crumble it up literally in the pan of red beans and rice and stir it up. Certainly it's good on top, but again, it just gives that extra little smoky bacon flavor if you'll just crumble it up and literally add it down in here. And it's literally just before serving. And that way it's still got a little bit of the crunchy. So rather than staying in there a long time and getting soft, well, there's nothing wrong with that either, but I just really like the different texture that it brings, just adding it there at the last minute. So there you go. It's canned beans and Rotel tomatoes, sausage, bacon, some beef broth, Worcestershire, lots of good seasonings. And in terms of how long to let it cook, you know, we could eat this right now. However, it's best after it sits, you know, for a little while. I'll let it hang out here probably at least an hour if we can wait that long. Brad may be in here wanting it before then, but I'll put it on low and just let it simmer for quite a while, and then I'll put it over rice. And we usually top it with jalapenos and cheddar cheese and hot sauce and eat it with good old Texas toast. So thanks again for joining. I'll post a recipe later. Please share your recipe. I would love to know how you do yours. And live life, y'all. See you later.